Hey guys, this is Simon. Today, let's talk about foreigners who like the Chinese system. Okay, I know a lot of people out there are thinking there's no way that someone from the outside of mainland China will really support that kind of system. A lot of you probably believe that whoever supporting it must either be disingenuous or super selfish or just paid by the government. However, I don't think that's the case because in real life, I know quite a few of them, and most of them are quite the opposite. They're caring, and they're kind. A lot of them are even married to a Chinese. Although I may not agree with what they believe, somehow I totally understand why they have this kind of view. So today, let's just think from their perspective together, okay? Then you might be able to understand why they have this kind of view. Now, let's just imagine you never come to China before, and everything you heard about China was coming from either like those conservative Western media or some politician from TV or from your ancient textbooks, which probably told you that Chinese people are living under an evil communist regime where government officials are super corruptive, they don't do shit, and people are making minimum wage from all those like sweat factories. And there are other serious issues such as pollution, poor quality in construction, lack of freedom, etc. There may be some positive ones once in a while, but most of them are not good ones. So your impression about China is probably quite negative. Probably a third world country, maybe a little bit better than North Korea. However, on your first day arrived in China after a plane landed at the airport in a first tier city, then you probably will be like, wow, China is totally not what I expected. There are so many tall buildings, shopping malls everywhere, and they also got very good public infrastructure, metro system, highways. It's way more convenient than my home country, and people aren't that poor at all, and there are cars everywhere, and pretty good ones. Then you probably will be like, damn, all those years I heard all those Western propaganda. Those are just horse shit. China is totally different from what I have been told. And then you kept living in China for a few years. You find the development speed in China is just so incredible. Within 1 year or two, new skyscrapers popping out, new metro lines, new bridges, and new parks. After another few years, China has already built the longest high-speed railway system than the whole world combined. You're probably blown away by all those new changes. In China, every month you can find some new things or places for you to experience. However, when you go back to your old home country, everything is still the same. Nothing changed much. A freaking bridge may take years to finish or may never be finished because people just keep arguing where they should spend all those tax money. And at the end of the day, nothing got done. While in China, things just keep becoming more and more convenient. The new technology get adopted very quickly everywhere. You install an app, it can virtually help you do anything. Ordering food, making payment everywhere, reserving a taxi, booking a hotel, buying stuff online, and even pay all your utility bills. However, when you go back to your old hometown, everyone is still using that old-fashioned cash money. Things are just not very efficient. And people in China also work really hard. So during the middle of the night, you can still order a pizza or several bottles of beer, and within no time, someone will ride their lovely scooter and send it to your place, and maybe only charge you for $1. But back to your home country, no one is going to deliver your food during the middle of the night, right? Because everyone needs to sleep. And even if someone does, it probably costs you a lot of money. Now in China, we don't have many disobedient people who will start a strike for weeks. Everyone just keep doing their jobs really hard. You don't hear people complain that much. While in your own country, a strike can last for months. The whole society just feel like getting stuck in the same spot forever. But in China, everything keeps moving forward. And there is no doubt that you are going to feel super safe while living in China. There are cameras everywhere, a police officer in every corner of the street, so you never need to worry about your safety during the night. While back to your city, there are certain places you may never want to visit because those places are occupied by those gangsters who just don't want to find themselves a proper job. And the worst part is that the local police can find out how to deal with those people because they are also protected by human rights. At that time, you probably start thinking maybe the system in China isn't that bad after all. Although you might hear some negative news about China from time to time, such as like someone was forced to move because the government needs that land. Still, if sacrificing some personal interest can bring benefits to the great majority, maybe it's worth it. At least things can be done in China. At least the government is moving the country forward. While in your old democratic country, people are still arguing about some useless bullshit. Most politicians don't really care about the future of the country. They just worry about whether they can get elected. And those short-sighted politicians can actually get elected just because their story is more attractive to the public. And politicians who focus on long-term development may never be elected because people just don't care that much about the future. And they just want to know what benefits they can get right now. By then, you probably feel pretty frustrated about that so-called democracy because just take a look at your own country, it is not going anywhere. Although you might still not fully understand how the government works in China, at least it looks pretty promising from the outside. You know, China is already the #2 economy in the world, and just based on that trajectory, it will be the #1 in the world within the next 10 years. Then you look at all those Western media, they're still reporting those old shit. Everything in China is falling apart, the government doesn't give a shit about its people, and people in China are suffering. Apparently, those Western media don't care that much about what actually happened, but instead they just want to make people believe that the West system is superior to China's system. By then, to you, the credibility of Western media probably already diminished to zero. You won't trust them anymore. And when you talk about China with your friends, they just sound so ignorant. They actually believe what the Western media said. They still think China is a third world country, everyone lives under the poverty line. At that moment, you probably find out that the West just doesn't want to accept their defeat and keep spreading their lies, so they can still make people believe that they have the greatest system in the world, right? So what should you do? If you don't want to change others and if you want to stay away from all those troubles, maybe you will just keep silent and let the rest of the world believe what they believe. But if you want to make a difference, you want to clear some misunderstanding and expose all those lies created by those Western media, what will you do? Maybe you will start telling the world that the Chinese government is actually doing a pretty good job. Maybe by opening a social media account and tell the world all those wonderful things happening in China, telling people that what you have actually experienced is not what all Western media have portrayed. You want the world to stop discriminating China just because they have a different system, or stop thinking China is still lacking behind just because you don't know China enough. And now it's time for the West to throw away all those prejudices and start learning from China. Alright, I'm not going any further. Everything I have said above is not trying to convince you that the Chinese system is the best. In fact, I have a different perspective. Hopefully in the future, if I got a chance, I will tell you what I think. But I just would like to help some of you to understand from those people's perspective. Do I 100% agree with them? Probably not. But I do understand why they have a different perspective. And I also believe the majority of them are good, honest people. And I hope you can understand them as well. Because I think only by understanding each other, we might be able to find something in common and keep moving forward together. Otherwise, no one will ever be convinced by anybody. Probably we're just gonna keep hating each other forever. And that's not good for any society, right? Alright, I think that's pretty much it. I don't know if you can understand that, so please leave a comment. Let me know what do you think, okay? So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. If you like the video, hit the like button and subscribe. Yeah, I will see you guys next time. Peace.